No. Hello there again, everyone. Welcome to another interview on the Vision Loss travel community. I am very excited for this interview because it has been a long time coming. Orly and we've been trying to meet up for a lot of times. And I can almost say every time we talked, we were in a different country again. So it has been challenging with time zones and uh, getting to a good time for us to talk. But we are so happy to have you here with us today, Orly. And we are very thankful that you took some time in your busy schedule to fit us in. So, yeah, take it away. And I would love for you to just introduce yourself to the community.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me, Lindsay. Um, my name is Orly, and I am now, I guess I'm totally blind. I have only very, very little bit of light residual vision. Um, I'm originally from Canada. I was born in Montreal and lived in Toronto for 30 years. There, I worked in the corporate world. I worked for different companies such as American Express and TD Bank. And quite a few years ago, I always wanted to end up in Florida. So it took some time to figure out and logistically make it happen and manifest it. And I moved to Florida, South Florida in 2018. Um, since moving, I did not go back to corporate work. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do when I grow up. And I took some time to just get involved in the self development world. I volunteered at different Tony Robbins events. And there's another person in the self development world, however, a physician by the name of Dr. Joe Dispenza. So I got heavily involved in that for many reasons, some personal and some to see where I fit in and how I can give back to the world. I also went to culinary school for fun, which I enjoyed very, very much. I would say cooking and travel are my passions. Um, I've traveled a lot over my years, either with a partner, with family, with friends, and some I've also done as a solo single woman who's visually impaired traveler. And um, I did some prior to the last year. However, in the last year, I've traveled by myself and I made it happen. It was a scary thing to think. I knew what I wanted and I knew what I wanted to experience, but at first, of course, just like everybody else, had my fears and reservations. However, I just decided to just not live life with any limits. And in the last year, I've personally, on my own, been to Bali, Thailand, and Costa Rica, and they were incredible. I mean, I've been to California and Toronto, like other places, but to me, those three trips were very meaningful, and I did them on my own.
That is absolutely amazing. I I would love for you to like walk us through that first trip that you
Mhm.
did on your own. Like how was that for you? How did you decide also to go on your own? Because that is a pretty big step.
It is a big step, however, because I've traveled before, and some of the places I've been to obviously are far, and these big endeavors that most people would probably shy away from. But I started off even little trips on my own. So I just started building the momentum and the confidence and the successes to build up to saying, hey, I'm going to travel to. So Bali was my first trip. And I decided to go there. I've been wanting to go to Bali for so many years, for many reasons, things that I read about, things that people tell me. And I think at that time, when I was looking into it, Bali is also known as a very, it's very relaxing. It is like paradise. It's very different. Nothing that is easy to explain unless you experience it. But it's also a retreat, a healing, health, and wellness mecca. So that was one of the drawing points. I decided that I wanted to go, and I just started doing my own research, good old Google,
Mm-hmm.
and figured out where I want to be, um, and went from there. It was like, step by step, you start looking into what's out there, what's possible, what's interesting to me. Um, of course, making sure safety is into consideration, being a woman traveler. And I did not go for an Airbnb or a hotel. I did go to a nice all-inclusive women's retreat. And it was the best thing I could have ever done for myself. That was the beginning of the 3 trips. And that trip was just all touring, getting to see some of the sites in and around Bali. There's an area called Ubud, which is a very holy spiritual place, a lot of Ayurvedic retreats there, a lot of healing and meditation. And it's not just, for those that are out there for wellness, there's a lot of beautiful things to do, like a hiking. I hiked, um, uh, heard some villages. I went to some water caves, and I will tell you that I was treated with respect. I told prior to even arriving, I emailed the retreat and I said, hey, I'm visually impaired. I am independent when I get to know my surroundings. However, initially, can I get a tour, a guide, any assistance to acclimate to my space and area? And they were very open, um, from the moment landing. And all 3 destinations I went to, from the moment I landed, I was treated with the utmost respect, dignity, and kindness. People were very helpful and very willing, very welcoming. And honestly, I never felt anything negative. I felt like I was an equal. Like they were just so excited to have me, and so many people there were just happy to creating such beautiful experiences of things that I wanted to do there, and not once did I feel unsafe. Um, and what I find for me, at least these times, is traveling with others is great. It has its purpose. It has its fun. You're with other people. You're socializing. However, when you travel alone, it brings another dynamic. It brings independence. It brings I'm able to do what I want when I want. Um, I will tell you, there was no lack of social either. When you're alone, a lot of people engage in conversation, in everything. I absolutely loved my experience in Bali for sure, and everywhere I traveled alone. It's something I definitely want to do again. And it also it I think it trickles into life in general. It's strengthened my confidence. It's given me other skills, travel skills, research skills, being out there and not worrying about asking for help. Because I'll tell you, for many, many years, especially I've been visually impaired all my life. Initially, for years, I wanted to hide it. I wanted to be, I don't need help. I had pride. Uh, I tried to overcompensate, and then now I realize I did not have to do that. We all need help and support at one given, one time or another. And traveling alone offers so much that isn't just in the moment and experiences and memories. It's trickled into my character, my day-to-day life, and my strength that I have out in the world as a woman who's visually impaired.
That's great. Yes, it is a given. Like once you start traveling, it really changes you as a person and
Yes.
for the better as well.
Oh,
Like you say, you get more independent and you get more resilient and maybe even more flexible when things sometimes do go wrong.
absolutely.
Um, yeah, because you have to be open-minded when you travel, definitely when it's to a different continent with different foods and such. But what
Yeah.
often people are curious about is also like do you really how are you really able to enjoy your traveling? Like, is it mainly because you are able to talk to different people, different cultures? Is it the food? Like, what is really for you the biggest enjoyment in your travels?
Well, first of all of the above. For me, if we're going to talk about the sites, well, the sites are there and I'm enjoying them, but differently. So I might not be able to visit, with my visual, my naked eye, see what's in front of me, but I could smell it, I could sense it, and I've had other people describe
Yeah.
uh, what's around, if we're out in nature or if I'm somewhere in a city and there's architecture, and my imagination takes over and I try to picture it, depending on where I am. There's smells, and the biggest thing for me is engaging all my senses. And there's so much information you could get that's not just from the eye. So even though I don't have sight, I find that I'm able to gain and gather information using all my other senses that's actually more and more accurate, more detailed than sight. Um, so I find that my experience as a visually impaired traveler is enriched because I'm not using my sight, I'm using all my other senses. And food, 100% is a biggie. Food from all over the world. I will tell you some of the interesting. Oh my goodness! So before I get on that tangent, but food is a deal. Tasting food, learning about the
Yeah.
history, food, the culture, talking to the local people there. Yeah, I've been to all-inclusive retreats. I've been on cruises. However, when I immerse myself and I meet the locals, try the food, listen to the stories, to their music. I mean, every part of the world has different kind of music um, and traditions, and to me, that is makes it such a rich experience. Um, wow. I guess I'm all out. I love to live life, and to me, living life is out there experiencing these various experiences. And if there's certain things that obviously I can't see that I need assistance with, so many people are willing to help if you just ask. I mean, I asked and they were happy. It wasn't a bird. I wasn't a burden. I didn't feel that I was unsafe at any point in time. I felt people were they were intrigued. I think that's a big deal. They were intrigued, especially from countries that aren't here, like Thailand or in
Yeah.
Bali too. They asked me questions. They were um, curious on how I experienced things. They were curious on what it took to get me to travel on my own, because in many parts of the world, a lot of their people that are blind, visually impaired, of all abilities and disabilities, a lot of people just stay stuck home. They're not looked at as capable, and they don't have all the resources we
Yeah.
have that we do here. So for them, it's very intriguing. And they asked me questions. And what it did is not just enhanced my travel experience. I started having the opportunity to do what I love since a young girl is advocacy, is speaking, is to help other people see what they don't see. So many people that are sighted don't see, and I want to open up their eyes to the fact that everybody is capable, and there shouldn't be any limits. I want to show other people to live life with no limits. Our limits, it's not my for me, it's not my visual impairment that's a limit. It's my mind. That could be a limit. It's our mind and our thoughts that limit us. So my fear could have kept me from going. Um, and that's not how I choose to live. I want to do things that are meaningful to me, and that's why this year I had the opportunity to travel to all these amazing destinations and experiences. And I'm very happy that I did. The only, I was going to say before, when we're starting to talk about enjoying things in a different way, or how do I enjoy things, and I was talking about food. I must say, sometimes you run, and this is part of the experience. I went to a market in Thailand. I went to a beautiful island in Thailand called Koh Samui, and I met a few ladies, and we went out to a market. Well, one of the stalls, I mean, they had stalls of tons of food and crafts and everything that you would find at a market. However, one stall was this huge vat deep fryer frying insects.
Yeah.
So that was, it was, I have pictures. I have the girls, the ladies that were with me describing, frying up scorpions, and this place, a massive lineup going around the corner. So for them, it's a delicacy. For us, maybe for some of us, it would turn our stomachs,
Yeah.
worms and deep fried scorpions. But I'm telling you, for them, woo, they were happy and enjoying their food. And that's okay. It's different for us, but for them, that's why I enjoy learning about all cultures and food, because there is such a diverse from all walks of life.
Yeah, that's great. And did you try anything yourself?
Not
Insects?
scorpions, no. But no, no. I'm very adventurous. Maybe I don't know. I just wasn't interested. We were having a delicious noodle dish, a nice hut next door, and I could smell the frying insects. So I, I'm adventurous, but I just wasn't that adventurous at that time.
Not yet.
I say,
Maybe next time.
yeah, exactly. Maybe next time.
Yeah. So last time we talked, we also talked about like feeling that fear because often people are like, "Okay, you're so brave and you do this," but they
Yep.
don't understand that there is a fear. It's not like you're fearless. But
No,
can you walk us through like how are you able to push through that fear that you're actually feeling before you do something like that?
it's like pushing through any fear. Everybody has fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of how would I do that? Am I going to be safe? How am I going to be in an unfamiliar place, and how am I going to get from point A to point B? Like, there's all kinds of things that could come into even my mind. And how I push through is by just taking the first step and saying, you know what, this is something that I want to do. And how am I going to get it accomplished? And it's just by taking that first step without knowing the outcome, without knowing where I'm going to stay. Um, it helped. I pushed myself at first, but afterwards I got excited. I totally forgot about my fear, because I built momentum, and a lot of my fears started dissipating because I had a goal I was working on that was exciting to me. I started doing research. I started asking questions. Um, uh, I've already traveled a lot, so I have no hesitation in going with a taxi to an airport. And then from the taxi, I ask the driver, can you just go in the door and just let them know that I'm going to need guidance? Or, some people might want to be guided in a wheelchair, whatever they choose. And somebody from the airline or from the airport authority comes out. So I get help from there to the ticket counter to the gate. There's never a time that I'm just left spinning my wheels, not knowing where I am, because I ask for assistance. And I think the key point to all this is just taking that first step, making that first phone call, saying, I'm interested in coming there. Or also doing, that Google research and pinpointing where you want to go. And it doesn't have to be Bali. Like right now, I'm in Toronto. Before next month, I head back to Florida. I'm in Toronto. I could say, you know what, this weekend, I just wouldn't mind going to Niagara on the Lake in Ontario. And that's a wine region. It's only about an hour away. So, whatever your ideas are, things that you want to do, big or little, dramatic, like Bali in Thailand, or somewhere next door for the weekend. Um, there's always ways of accomplishing things. It just means getting out of your head, living from the heart, because really you accomplish so much when you live from your heart and get away from all those limited beliefs and fears, and really fears of the unknown, because those things haven't even happened and we already fear them and put up walls. So the bottom line is just to get up, start baby steps, and then it just gets easier. And asking questions, I don't know, it depends on what somebody wants to do. There's so many resources out there, many resources for people, for travel, and even people with visual disabilities, just like yourself. And it's funny because I didn't even know that you were training and certifying yourself as a travel coach. Prior to even talking to you months ago, it's something I started to look into. It's not, I've not moved in that direction, but that's something that might be of interest for me, is not just because of my experiences in travel, but I've always wanted to support others and help others. And this might be something that I'm going to look at doing as well.
Yes, definitely. We talked about it before. I think you would be definitely a really great candidate to do something like that because you have the knowledge, and I also feel like you are very empowering and inspiring, and I absolutely love that, and I hope that
You.
you have lots of more adventures to come. I don't know what is the next big thing on your list.
Actually, the next big thing is learning and certifying myself and building my own business, because that's been the next thing on my agenda. I've had a lot of experiences. I've been very fortunate, and my life changed dramatically 2 years ago. So I took that time, and now it's time for me to set up roots with travel, but set up roots and start learning and training and being out there, because I want to contribute out in the world. And whichever way that looks like, if it's inspiring others to travel, to cook, uh, that's what my next focus is on, certifying myself and starting my own business.
Great. Like we support you and we are super excited to see where that is going. Definitely
Thank
keep us on the loop on that.
I will.
One last thing, if there are still people that are out there that are still a little bit in that fear phase. They do have dreams, they want to, but they are just not ready to take that first step yet. What would you like to tell them?
Give us a call.
Stay on the
um,
community, ask your questions
I,
on the community. We're here.
yeah, there's a lot of people in the community. Um, Obviously, you took a certification as a travel coach, and you have your experience and your area of expertise. I, as a blind traveler and someone who's always been in the self-development coaching world, it's something I want to do to help others. The first thing, really, if someone is that stuck, and I've been stuck, where I feel like I'm faced with a wall, there's no way I feel I could really take that next step, is network, ask questions, reach out to peers, reach out to resources, um, seek somebody such as us to talk to, and actually maybe help formulate a plan, because sometimes when you don't know, you know what you want, but you just don't know how to achieve it. It's helpful to have someone else supporting you and even developing a plan, because sometimes it takes goals and it takes a plan, a concrete plan, in creating something that will succeed.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes when you have like a big dream, it can look really far away, but then
And
it's
over,
good to kind of break it down into
yeah,
smaller pieces, into smaller steps, and just start from there. Start getting
correct.
whatever knowledge you need, or whatever you need to get to that big goal, that big dream.
Exactly. And all I could say is it truly is possible, even for those that are so stuck and in fear or in comfort. They're comfortable. It's comfortable in your own surroundings and comfortable with what you know. But if you have that want and that wish, you can make it happen.
Great. Thank you so much, Orly, for taking the time to talk to us. And
Well,
we wish you all the best. Enjoy nice, warm Florida soon.
I will. I'm looking forward to it. And I miss Florida.
I can imagine before the real winter hits in Canada, you'll be on the beach in Florida.
Exactly. Yes, studying.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Well, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for having me.
You're
And
welcome. Bye.